Welcome, everybody, to the Oh Hail No podcast by Wicked Weather. This is season 1, episode 5. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We have a very, very special guest with us today. We got extreme meteorologist Reed Timmer with us. Reed, thank you very, very much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Wicked Weather.
Absolutely. We're super excited about this. It's going to be a good time. But I know you have a really, really busy schedule. As you can tell, you're on the road. You're always on the road. Are you ever home?
Not very often, yeah. I think home is right here in the Dominator 4 or the Dominator 3 on the road. I just like to be driving, constant movement. But I'm actually coming back from Perkins, Oklahoma. Will Clay 25 has been rebuilding the Dominator 3 and making some new sensors and ramping up the science mission a lot. So definitely inspired on this trip back home.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, we've been keeping up and saw your posts about that with the Dominator 3 getting those updates. Those are going to be sick. Maybe you can add. You probably don't have enough room to add a bed back there for you, do you? You just start sleeping in the Dominator since that's your new home.
Yeah, no room for a waterbed back there just yet, but yeah, we had to rebuild the front end of it. The Gary, South Dakota tornado did a lot of damage to the Dominator and almost ripped the hood off, and the side mirrors were bent out. The doors were all botched. We had to do a new fuel pump and like the 5th brake job of the season. But we're making a bunch more additions for the science mission as well. We're going to have a master camera on the roof with a slider, some interior shots, and like 5 or 6 exterior cameras too. So next year is definitely the plan is to go big with the science mission and with the search and rescue.
That's awesome. Glad that's happening. Do I hear rumors that there might be a Dominator 5 coming, or is that still a little ways out?
There is a Dominator 5 coming, and it still probably is a little ways out. I think we want to get another year or two out of the Dominator 3, but it is in the works right now. We're coming up with the design. We're thinking of maybe more of a flying saucer shape with a more effective anchoring system, because I want to build a Dominator 5 that would be a guaranteed survival in even an EF5 tornado, because that would take a lot of the stress out of the intercept process, because the Dominator 3 is not a guarantee.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. And actually, this year you guys you took a little bit of a spin down south. You got spun around there. How was that?
Yeah, that was just west of Huntsville, Alabama, on May 20, right kind of toward the tail end of the Dixie Alley season this year. And it was a crazy event, probably one of the craziest tornado intercepts I've ever experienced. And I actually thought I was airborne for a split second, because we were chasing the tornado and it looked like it was going to go a little bit further to the east. So I was trying to get to the next intersection, and it peeled off a little sub vortex, a really intense vortex that was just knifing right through the corn, and it was heading right for the Dominator 3. And we shot an air cannon at the suction vortex. Will was in the back seat with the big potato gun, and as soon as he shot the sensor, it ramped up that sub vortex, almost like as if the poof of air accelerated the spin beneath the dynamic pipe, and it ended up spinning the Dominator about 100 degrees. And the vortex was spinning so fast, I thought we went around a couple of times. So I thought for a split second that we were airborne, and I knew that the windows were down, especially Local Man Weather's window on the right side. But I was just thankful that the next split second I knew everybody was okay, and there were a bunch of corn stalks in my lap. It basically went to the moon. It shot straight up, the parachute popped, and it was recording GPS data and thermodynamics inside of the tornado. But we still have yet to track down that parachute probe. So if you're in the Huntsville, Alabama area and you see a bright red parachute, let us know.
Awesome. Yeah, that was a wild video. That was probably one of the craziest videos that I'd seen from you. But yeah, that was pretty crazy. We're gonna go back here. I'm gonna hand it over to Doug real quick, and he's gonna talk about some things. I know that well, actually, I'll just let him talk about it here.
Yeah. So, Reed, you and I have talked before. Your mom's from Jackson. You're from Michigan. I live in Jackson.
Nice.
So, absolutely. So, how did you go from graduating in Michigan to becoming a meteorologist? What was your drive?
Well, I've always been a big science nerd. My mom was a science teacher in middle school, and I first started collecting insects at about the age of 5 or 6, and collected insects for like 15 years. I had a focus on scarab beetles and silk moths, and but I was always into the sciences. And in 1985, I had a tornado experience up in Michigan when I was 5 years old, and the tornado sirens were sounding. I remember the chaos in the neighborhood. My dad was walking really slow, pulling us in a wagon after we were catching minnows, and my mom was trying to get us to take shelter. And I think that was really probably my first memory of being excited by severe weather, and it just grew from there. I always knew I wanted to be a storm chaser, even from probably about 7 years old. And I was into the life sciences as well, but weather and storm chasing was always my deep-rooted passion. And so I made the decision to study meteorology at the University of Oklahoma when I was like 14. And went down there in 1997 and saw my first tornado down there. And then I studied meteorology for 17 straight years, continuously enrolled at OU. So I was one of those lifelong college students.
That's awesome. Yeah,
But I've been
actually
chasing ever since. So,
that's
so we saw May 3rd, 99 that year as a freshman underneath an overpass in a soft top geo tracker. And I was addicted to getting up close to tornadoes ever since then, and have just been doing it nonstop for 30 years now, almost.
Hey, I give you mad props, man. Some of that stuff you do is insane.
Living by that motto,
OCD,
never stop chasing.
Yeah.
Never stop helping. Never stop helping is your motto, Casey.
Yeah.
Always there after the storm, day after day.
So we've touched base a little bit on how TDSR, we were talking about it prior, how TDSR started, and I was explaining to them, it was a long process for us to get it started, and we had a lot of calls together, you, me, Ginger, a few others, and it was multiple calls, and it was at random times. It was never the same time every time. But we made it happen. It did take some time to get all the paperwork and stuff in order, but now TDSR's, ready. They're on the ground. They're moving. Casey and Star 1 following behind you. So I think we counted, one windshield replacement this year? We're working on getting another one?
On SAR? On SAR 1?
Yeah.
I've had 3 now, and then the side window.
So you got some catching up to do.
Dude, I tell you what, when I Casey, when your eye was bothering you and I jumped in for you that time, I think that the anemometer that got ripped off of the Dom and I went back for, I think that saved my windshield because they got into some pretty decent hail into that town there. And when I went back, I think I just missed it. As when I grabbed that and came back, I was like, oh, thank goodness. Like I showed up and there was just massive hail on the ground. I was like, I probably would have got my windshield busted. So,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for grabbing that anemometer. That was a huge, and that was our first chase of that thing. It only been there for an hour or two and then just got snipped.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was awesome. And you guys actually did pretty well. You ended up just selling that on like eBay, I think it was, and did pretty good with it. So,
yeah. Did you ever get a flood down there on Galliano Creek?
No, I didn't. I sat there for a while and I watched it. This was just last week. We were chasing. You were north of me, I think, but I was down there, and it rose a little bit, but not near as much as what I think was anticipated, which is good. It's a good thing for them. We knew that there was a little camp at the end of that. There's a little road that comes around and goes. It just dead ends. And there's a little Christian children's camp that's down there that we were aware of before the flash flood warning happened. But we were I called the camp to see if there was anybody there, and it was just trying to give them a heads up. Nobody answered. I don't think there was anybody there, luckily. But those are the kind of things we're trying to watch out for when those kind of things happen. But
oh yeah, I ended up going up that creek a little bit. We're talking about that burn scar up there near Hermit Peak, just to the west of Mora, New Mexico. But I think that burn scar might be a little old. It probably would have taken like 8 inches of rain to trigger a flood. I ended up going up Galliano Creek, and I could not find any flood. I think some of that new growth, the aspens and oaks coming in there, but I saw Ruidoso had a flash flood warning just northeast of them again today.
Yeah, it seems like they're always getting hit with that, man. It's like at least a couple times a week. It seems like they're always having flash flood warnings down there. So,
yeah, it nearly went big. If it had another 30 minutes of rainfall up there above Ruidoso, I think it would have been another big plug. But I think they had like 2.5 inches up there above Cedar Creek. I probably would have been a little further downstream if they got to like 3 or 4 inches. Would have tried to get it a little bit further down. But yeah, poor Ruidoso. They had that flood at the same time you guys were down helping with the Texas relief.
Yes, absolutely. Around the same time, and that was a pretty massive flood. There's lots of videos going around of that one, and that one was definitely pretty significant.
Yeah, but I'm hoping that for next year when we're doing this live stream and doing the science and everything, we'll be more full throttle with the search and recovery group, and we'll cover that live as well and help out before, during, and after the storm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta keep that thing going full circle for sure. That's the intent. So, a question for you, Reed: Do you actually keep track of all the tornadoes that you intercept every year?
Oh yeah, I keep track of them mentally, and I don't have an exact count anymore for tornadoes. I know I'm somewhere over 1,000 or so, but yeah, I know the approximate total, but I'm not one of those guys with a tornado counter just yet. I think this year we maybe saw like 75 tornadoes and saw close to 100 last year because we had all those during the fall, and then saw a tornado on December 26th north of Houston last year. So it just kept going year-round last year, and I have a feeling this year is going to keep going as well deep into the fall, just because we have all that warm water in the North Pacific with the positive phase NPO. And I was always wondering if we were going to have a hurricane drought coming, and that's why I scheduled the Team Dominator Fall Tour this year, because I figured eventually the hurricane drought similar to 2006 to 2016 is coming, because I feel like there's a lot more to the hurricane equation than just warm sea surface temperatures, but we'll see. We still have a long way to go for the hurricane season, September and October, and still wouldn't be surprised if we get one toward the end of the season. It only takes one big hurricane to cause big problems.
Sure, absolutely. And when you're going in and intercepting and things like that, obviously we talked about the probes, the sensors, drones and stuff are getting big nowadays. I believe Will's working on another drone, or he has several, I think. But can you explain to people what kind of data and stuff do you collect that helps further the science and the understanding of weather?
Yeah, our goal with our tornado science is to get a 3-dimensional X-ray of the thermodynamics and wind inside of the tornado and the parent mesocyclone. And we're especially trying to better understand the dynamic pipe, that pipe of low pressure that is the tornado funnel as it descends toward the ground, drilling down toward the ground. And we're also trying to measure the surface wind data, because the interaction of the tornado with the friction of the earth is one of the most mysterious things with a tornado. Possible that you can have a tornado interacting with the friction of the earth. It could become a multiple vortex, and those subvortices could even pack winds that approach the sound barrier, maybe even 400 or 500 miles an hour on the real small scales. And ironically, it was a suction vortex that spun the Dominator 100 degrees there. So we're definitely trying to better understand the fine scale structure of tornadoes, and eventually for the sake of tornado dissipation. But right now, we're just trying to collect as many data points inside of the tornado, stream that data live, run it through our AI algorithms, and then theoretically, we can get a real-time estimate of a tornado's intensity. So we could be like, this thing is an EF3, has EF3 winds just above the ground, and we'll be able to get a real-time estimate of the tornado intensity and a 3-dimensional X-ray of the thermodynamics, the low pressure, the relative humidity, the moisture, the temperature in there, coupled with the wind in the tornado and the mesocyclone.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great stuff there, and very, very important. What you do, you come a long way from your start. I know we kind of touched on how you got your start and stuff. Your book, actually, I'd like to give your book a shout out. I've actually read the audiobook, Into the Storm. For anybody that hasn't read this or listened to it, it is incredible. Reed's got awesome stories in there from the time he started college all the way through, well, pretty much just about when it was released, I think. So he's got lots of stories in there. It's awesome. Lots of science stuff. If you want to nerd out a little bit like I do. So shout out to the book. That's pretty awesome. But going back to, or going into maybe a tougher question for you, but what tornado or storm do you feel has taught you the most that you've been a part of, whether it be scientifically or personally?
I would say probably June 17, 2009. That was our first big science intercept when we were flying a drone. It had a 15-foot wingspan, and it was dropping parachute probes out of the base of it, and we were intercepting the tornado at the same time with the Dominator. And the goal was to drop the parachute probes outside of the tornado and allow those to ride all the way to the vortex, and then we would intercept the tornado at the base to get the ground-up three-dimensional data set. But on that day when we dropped the parachute probes, they would race toward the tornado, riding the inflow, and then they would get just outside of the core flow and then collapse straight to the ground. And we realized that there was a sheath of sinking air around the tornado from that science mission, and that we would need some propulsion to deliver the sensor inside of the sheath of sinking air into the tornado core flow in the middle. So I would say that June 17, 2009 tornado intercept really shaped our science mission moving forward. And we realized that we needed those FPV drones, the rockets, the air cannons, and we need to be inside of the sheath of sinking air before we deploy those sensors to get them inside of that rotating updraft that is the tornado. And then some years later in 2019, we got our first rocket launch into a tornado, into the Linwood, Kansas EF4 tornado. And that one, we used the rocket. The parachute popped about 400 feet above the ground. It sampled 190 mile-per-hour winds inside of that tornado and 113.5 millibar pressure deficit just above ground. So that was the first ever data set in 3 dimensions inside of a tornado of thermodynamics. But it was really that leap from June 17, 2009 to May 28, 2019, when we realized that we needed the propulsion of the rockets to get through that sheath of sinking air that surrounds a tornado.
Wow, gotcha. Okay, yeah, that's crazy.
But one thing we learned from that tornado in 2019 is that the tornado vortex, as we know it, the cylindrical shape or the dynamic pipe, seems to go up to about 10 or 12,000 feet and then broadens out dramatically into the mesocyclone. And it was interesting that the trajectory of the parachute didn't have a lot of curvature to the got into the mesocyclone. It's almost like a giant vacuum cleaner up there. And any spin or any eddy beneath that vacuum cleaner is a candidate to develop into a tornado.
Nice. You have what seems to be quite a bit of success. You always seem to be at the right place at the right time. Obviously, knowing what you're doing and having that meteorology degree helps, and the experience. But do you have any like superstitions? Like, do those gas station burritos that you get like give you good luck or something, or like?
I'm not a very superstitious guy, but usually before the tornado seasons, I really try to connect with nature and look at the flowers, look at the new spring buds that are coming out. Even kind of the gray scenes of Dixie Alley in the early spring have a beauty to them, a natural beauty. So I do try to connect to nature a little bit before the seasons. And I try to eat like 5 or 6 eggs a day. I usually feel best when I'm doing that. And I'm definitely hammering these Zyn nicotine pouches starting this March. I got to get off these things. Pounding like 40 of these a day.
Dude, people don't realize, like, being in the car for long periods of time, like you're in a vehicle, like it really does wear down on your body quite a bit. It's kind of brutal, to be honest.
Yeah, it can, and driving the Dominator 3 in Dixie Alley where it's difficult to chase, the roads are all windy. A lot of times you're in the dark, in the jungle, in the trees. Sometimes you can even just hear the tornado and not even see it. And the chasing in the Dominator 3 in Dixie Alley, February all the way up to April. Then you're back out to the Great Plains. And this year was just unprecedented in its duration from February all the way through July. I mean, severe weather season is still going now, and we hardly had any breaks. It used to be you'd have 2 to 4 week breaks throughout, littered throughout a storm season, but now it's just continuous from Dixie Alley all the way through the upper Midwest and Ridge Rider season.
Sure, absolutely. And we talked about the Dom going through some upgrades and getting fixed up. It takes a beating quite a bit. But can you recall a time like where you your gear, your vehicle broke down, and you had to come up with some creative ingenuity to keep the chase going? Can you recall any of those times?
Oh, yeah. Usually that creativity involves a rental car, getting a rental car when the Dominator breaks down. But unfortunately, now I'm not allowed to rent vehicles. I'm actually on the do not rent list of all major rental car companies, except for Thrifty, I think, right now. But that's what we do if the Dominator 3 breaks down like it did before the Greenfield, Iowa tornado. We lost the turbo, and we ended up renting a car and then chasing that tornado. And then we had a tree go through the front windshield, collapse. We were wearing the windshield like a tuxedo, and then took it down into West Texas, blew all the windows out. And that was the rental car there. But now I just have the Dominator 3 and the Dominator 4, which is my Subaru here. So you can see the Subaru, my fishing rods are in the back, waders back there and stuff. And the Subaru's driving great, but the Dominator 3 is fixed up and ready to go. It had a brutal season this year, but thanks to local man weather, Will Clay, they kept it running all season long, 4 or 5 brake jobs and all kinds of small fixes. It's definitely a continuous work in progress, but the Dominator 3 is going to be back like never before next year with camera systems, rocket launchers, Will designing a probe that's carried by FPV drone that's like a dart, basically a lawn dart, and you drop it from the drone like 200 feet up. It sticks in the ground and then has a pitot tube anemometer on it so it can measure the surface pressure and wind data, and we can drop them in an array ahead of the tornado. And all of this will be streamed live with like 5 or 10 different camera systems and switchers and everything. So we're trying to bring that live PD model to storm chasers through social media.
Awesome. Yeah, that's pretty neat. That's actually a really good way to deliver those things and just let them stick into the ground like that. I never really thought about that, but that's pretty smart there. A question: the rental car thing, is there an end date to that? Are you banned for life, or is that like something like, hey, after this amount of time you can start renting again?
Yeah, I think I might be banned for life on a few of them. There's no end date on it, so it's kind of like getting ghosted, I think, a little bit, or you don't even know if you're on the do not rent list. Sometimes they send you a letter, but one time I went to rent a car out in South Carolina, and they declined me at the counter because of the do not rent list.
Yeah, that's tough.
But I feel bad. I've rented a lot of cars. Yeah, I've rented a lot of cars. They've saved my life many times. I've done a lot of great science with it, warned a lot of people in the path of storm. So I'm kind of sad about it. I've always had a good relationship and an emotional connection with the rental car company. So I am sad about it.
So, Reed, I have a vehicle that you can use. What's your thoughts on that?
There it is. Perfect for me. Yeah.
Dude, honestly,
does it come with a horse?
We can actually put Casey in front of it to run.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, we'll let Casey pull it.
He's got the endurance. Enduro man.
Yeah. Hey, Reed, what's your theme song? If you're chasing, and you could have any song come on the radio, what would your theme song be?
I like Marijuana by Kid Cudi right now.
Okay.
That's a good one that I've been listening to.
I don't know if I've heard it. Is that new?
Chasing, but no, it's a pretty old school rap song.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Sometimes I like to listen to rap. I'm not as big into the top 40 music right now, but I like the classic rock. I like some country out there. I listen to Matchbox 20 on repeat.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I just
Awesome.
hammer a song until I don't like it anymore, and then I move on to the next one.
I'm kind of the same way. I'm like, I get real passionate about something, including songs, and I'll like just do it a whole bunch, and then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I'm over this, and I move on.
Yeah, I like Local Man. Local Man Weather will play some smooth jazz sometimes, background music, which is nice.
He strikes me as a smooth jazz kind of guy. I could totally see him listen to that for sure.
Yeah, he's into smooth jazz. He's got a cologne collection that goes back like 200 years.
Nice.
Yeah, very interesting guy.
Yeah, he's definitely got that style.
Yeah.
So we I know we touched briefly about kind of how TDSR started, kind of a long process. It's kind of a newer thing, but we'll go over to Casey real quick. Obviously, Casey, you get the honor of like following Reed as part of TDSR. How did you get the start with TDSR? Like, how did that come to be a thing?
Yeah, so well, I started with search and rescue about 4 or 5 years ago before I really started getting all my certifications. And just really last year, I met Ginger, and she introduced me to TDSR and kind of said what we were about and everything. I was, yeah, that sounds like fun. I want to do that. And she said basically like, you're gonna be chasing behind Dominator, behind Reed. I was like, oh, no way. I had no idea that was actually gonna be the thing. And but yeah, it's been a great time since we started following him. I feel like as far as like the rescues, I think we saved him at least once, pulling him out of the mud that I know of. That was out in San Angelo, Texas, I think. Or that was up in Nebraska, wasn't it? Yeah, that's right.
Valentine, Nebraska.
Yeah. So at least one time us following. Yeah, that was a crazy day too. There was a lot of tornadoes that day, and then the night chase was insane.
Yeah. Well,
tornado producing machine and kept producing wedges out over the sand out there, one after another.
Yeah, I just posted a video of that actually.
I need to make sure that my little Colorado can actually pull the Dominator 3 out. I don't know if it will or not. I think it'd be close. I think if I gave it a little bit of a tug, it'd probably work. But my little Colorado may or may not pull that thing out.
Oh,
how much is that? How much does it weigh, Reed? I've asked you this before, but I can't remember what it was.
It weighs about 10,000 pounds. I bet the Colorado.
Oh, I got it.
Out.
I
Especially
got
if
it.
It's a really slippery surface.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So, Doug, welcome back. Okay, how the heck, Doug? You're part of TDSR as well, right? You're on the board. How the heck did that happen? I could see Casey. Casey's got the cool guy look to him, but I don't know about you, Doug.
He's a boardman.
Yeah. So what that came down to is I saw a posting for TDSR, and they were looking for volunteers. I'm like, I'm gonna throw my name in the hat. Threw it out there. I'm a health and safety manager full time for my regular job. Well, I just started, posting, weather information, answering people's questions in the chat and Discord. I was that go-to person in the Discord. And I wake up one morning with a text from Ginger at like 4 a.m. And I'm like, what the hell? Am I getting booted? And it was her asking me if I'd be interested in becoming a board member because I'm active. I talk to everybody. And they want people that are going to be active within the group. Like, so yeah, I'd love to. And next thing I know, very next day, hey, we got this meeting with Reed and this lawyer. It's for TDSR for getting started. I'm like, all right, put me in it. So I take my lunch, go outside, call. This is the first of many calls. And here we are almost 8 months later, and TDSR is starting to go off the ground, and haven't looked back on it. I actually enjoy every bit of it.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Doug. And thank you, Doug and Casey, for all the work you guys have done on that. It's always been a goal we've been storm chasing for so many years, before and during the storm, that it's very important for us to help out after the storm as well. And you guys are incredibly trained, incredibly passionate people about helping out after the storm. And it's been an absolute honor getting this thing off the ground with you guys.
Absolutely. I want to say thank you for allowing us to do this with you and operate together. And I think we're doing a great cause together, and we're gonna have a great another year ahead of us. So
next year's gonna be even better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I might
Super
need you to
excited
chase
about
a hurricane for me in the next few months, Casey.
Oh, I'm in. I'm ready. You tell me
it.
when.
No.
We're all
It
down.
seems like this high pressure is just dominating the Atlantic Basin so far. It's 70 degrees here in Oklahoma, and it's not even September 1st. That's insane.
Yeah, that's wild.
I do want to touch on this real quick. I'm toss it out there. For anybody interested in sponsoring Team Dominator Storm Recovery, go to their Facebook page, shoot them a message. They'll send you back the QR code or the link tree to where you can send them donations or look at their Amazon wish list. TDSR is a nonprofit organization, so it is something you can write off on your taxes if you do decide to sponsor or donate.
Yep, it's a great cause. Boots on the ground. We're helping out directly, and a lot of times you'll see it live too. When we're running our live stream, you'll see TDSR getting in there. I know we had a crazy event up in the Dakotas. Thankfully, that family was okay up there, and we started up some fundraisers for them outside of Spiritwood. But at least this year, there were a lot of tornadoes, but not a ton of damage, thankfully. So a lot of them were over open terrain, which is good. But the year before, not as lucky with all that damage, and a lot of it was in Oklahoma here in our home state.
So,
Yeah.
Reed, earlier this year, I was on my way home from my mom's house. She lives in Battle Creek, Michigan. So I decided to drop down to Coldwater and go through Quincy there on 12. And ended up 0 metering a tornado.
I remember that tornado.
Yeah, complete accident. It was off behind us by like 3 miles when we left the Discount Tire there, right off the highway, right off I-69. We're busting east, and next thing I know, we just start having branches, power lines, and everything hitting our car. And I'm like, crap, I think we might be in this thing. Sure enough, right over top of us, drops, and goes right through the town of Quincy. And
wow. Well, you've intercepted more tornadoes in Michigan than I have, and that was my original home state.
Hey, look at that.
This means you got to come back.
Yeah,
Hey, honestly, that's
tornado
something to be
alley
proud
in
of.
Michigan down there. What's
Yeah.
that?
Oh, I was like, that's something to be proud of. You actually beat Reed to a statistic.
Yes.
Hang on,
Doug did it by dumb luck.
Now
gonna
I
put
just
that in
need
my-
those Detroit Lions to win a Super Bowl.
Hey, Hutch is back this year, so let's hope that he stays healthy.
Yeah, this is our year.
Absolutely.
The Royals restored.
Yeah, we need the Lions to do really good. Michigan's not going to do too hot this year, but I think the Lions are going to come to play this year.
Hey, Doug, I got more.
Game,
I was going to say, Doug, I got more Lions players on my fantasy team, I think, than you do at this point, though.
Well, that's just because you know a winning team.
Yeah, I guess.
But Reed, I mean, if we're being serious, Gage is a Dallas Cowgirls fan, so.
Yeah, well, it's been my entire life, all 29 years of life of disappointment. So.
Yeah, he just pulled a Herschel Walker and traded Micah Parsons.
Yes, and that's what everyone keeps telling me. They're like, "Hey, what happened with Jerry?" And I just said, "Herschel Walker, baby." Hopefully, that's what we're doing here. So we'll see.
Yeah, we got those 3 first-round draft picks. They'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about it. But I'm not getting my hopes up too much for this year. But maybe in the next few years we'll see something out of it. But yeah, lots of back to the wicked weather and TDSR. Lots of big things coming from us here. So keep paying attention with the future. Reed, how do you see? Obviously, AI is a big part of everything nowadays. We got drones. We got lots of big things happening. But how do you see storm chasing developing in the next 20 to 30 years? Do you think AI is going to help things? Do you think storm chasing is going to really take off, or how do you see that developing?
Yeah, I think it's going to continue to take off, and I think that the AI boom could even help storm chasing that, because I think there's going to be a desire for real life, real human experiences out there. eventually, kind of like the return of the board game a little bit with video games and everything. So I think there's going to be a strong desire for real life experiences of watching real humans chase storms. And I think there'll be a lot of advancement in science and production and live production. And I think that it's kind of peaking in popularity probably right now with the new movie Twisters that just came out. I bet we'll probably see a plateau in that a little bit as people realize kind of how hard it is to storm chase and make a living doing it. And then I bet we'll probably hit a sustainable plateau eventually here in the coming years. But I don't think storm chasing is going anywhere. I think it's only going to get more popular with time. But I think we'll see a lot of advancement with research technologies and miniaturization of sensors and maybe nanobots. But I do think eventually all research is going to have to pivot toward tornado dissipation to really have a good end game. I think all tornado research probably needs to have that end game of some kind with the goal of dissipating the tornado or at least increasing warning lead times.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So I just recently obviously put a bunch of vinyl and stuff all over my truck. I had chased before, obviously before I met Wicked Weather and stuff, and pretty chill. Like it's kind of nice not having anything on your vehicle because like you don't get people like thinking, oh, I could follow that guy or things like that. And recently, now that I have the vinyl on my truck, I got more and more people kind of coming up to me, and the time that I actually got to follow you, I really started realizing how many people are like they see the Dominator and they're like, oh my gosh, like and they really start flocking towards you. But it and it can make it a little bit difficult. I know you appreciate the people, but I know that it also makes a little bit difficult. Now you have this. You had mentioned the tour. You have this fall tour coming up, right? Yep. We have the dates for you to pull up here. There's his fall tour dates. So if you're around that area, go check him out. Now, Reed, is this a meet and greet kind of thing, or is this like a seminar, or both? Like, what can people expect from you on this tour?
It's a show. So this is a theater tour, and it's basically an educational presentation, really exciting as well. We show what it's like to be inside of a tornado. We're going to be flying FPV drones over the audience. There's also a meet and greet worked in on all of these events, and we're going to have the Dominator 3 at a majority of them that we can make it out there for. Definitely the first first half of the events. We'll probably have the Dominator 3 at all of them. But it's a great educational experience, a family experience out there. And we're doing this fall tour to raise funds for our science mission, which we're really planning on ramping up next year for more miniaturized sensors. So our whole science mission is self-funded. That's why we're able to drive into the tornadoes and not have to worry as much about the safety part of it, even though we are, safety is my middle name, of course. But yeah, come on out and see us. Team Dominator Fall Tour, the first one, starting September 4 in Kansas City. Then we head up to Des Moines, then up to Dubuque, and then back down to Rockford, Illinois.
So I'm going to toss this out there for tour number 2. Can we get something in Michigan?
Yeah, we need them in Michigan. Yeah, I'll have to reach out and get a couple of events up in Michigan, my home state.
I got connections with venues.
I haven't been there in a while.
Yeah. Hopefully people can utilize this to come meet you and get that itch out to come see the Dominator, come see you, what you're about. That way, I think some people forget when they see you that you literally drive into tornadoes. And they could be putting themselves at risk by following you. So I know Casey does his best to try to, while you're on a storm, to try to keep people back, keep people just safe, right? That's the main goal, like you said, is to just keep people safe. But I think some people just forget that the Dominator's intent is to literally drive into tornadoes. So, but yeah, what I was going to say, I almost forgot. Last question for you. What, if you could go back, or actually, what is your, what do you wish you would have known when you first started storm chasing, or what kind of tips and tricks for that young storm chaser that may be in high school still, that's like like inspired by you, inspired by weather, that might be just starting out, what tips or things that you wish you would have known could you give them to maybe help them out?
Well, the key is I wouldn't be so fixated on getting tornadoes. I would definitely fixate on the process of storm chasing and enjoying nature. And even if you see a big storm that's not producing a tornado, you've got to have that as a win or a great experience, and definitely connect with nature. Don't put all your eggs in the tornado basket. Eventually those will come as you get better at reading the storm and forecasting, and definitely try to link up with people that know what they're doing. There's a ton of online resources now. It seems like the next generation knows more about meteorology than a lot of meteorologists do, even before they get to college. So there's a lot of material online, a lot of new technologies out there, a lot of new forecast model data, a lot of coding that you can do out there as well. So I would focus on those technologies, but make sure you lean into your passion. If you're passionate about storm chasing or about weather, you have to do it. And it's going to be associated with some adversity. There's definitely going to be some times you're like, man, I don't know if I can do this, but that's when you got to push harder. And if you love what you're doing for a living, it's really easy to work hard at it. And just consider yourself lucky if you found your passion in life, whether it's storm chasing, the sciences, whether it's helping out after the storm. Just consider yourself very lucky that you found a passion in life, because it's pretty rare to find one.
Sure. Yeah, it's very financially demanding. Like yeah, if you don't have sponsors and stuff like that, I don't know. I'm in that financial it's like really difficult to keep it going. But that passion for weather,
It
man,
is.
just keeps you going.
Yeah, it keeps you going, and even if you have bad things that are happening in your life and you're storm chasing, it helps you block out the bad things, and it makes you just thankful that you're out there storm chasing, doing what you love. But I do understand the financial hardships associated with it. I've been doing it for 30 years now. I've hit zero many times. Definitely don't be afraid to hit zero. That's it's an okay space to be in at zero, and then dig your way out of it. I think I hit zero as recently as about 2018, just after my divorce. Out there, I lost everything in Las Vegas. So sometimes you hit zero, and it's okay if that happens. But definitely just keep working hard and lean into your passions in life.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, shameless plug here for Wicked Weather. We have education programs right now. So if you want to see us at your school, we'll be going around trying to do that. So you can absolutely reach out to us for that. We've got a ride-along program, so you can come tag along with us. If you're a brand new storm chaser, don't really know what you're doing, we'd be happy to have you along and show you the ropes and hopefully help steer you towards that passion and getting that, going towards the storm chaser or meteorology route, or even the science route. So we'd love to be that start for you. But well, we are pretty close to time here. We're at 43 minutes. Reed, thank you very, very much. We really appreciate you coming out and taking your time out of your busy schedule to be here. So thank you so much.
It's fun.
Yeah,
I had
absolutely.
a great time. Thank you for having me. You guys are awesome. I love that we're teaming up on storm chasing and helping out after the storm. Wicked Weather is awesome as well. So I'd love to be on when you do more podcasts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Stick around. Man. West, we got something we want to chat with you about real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Thanks again, Reed. We'll catch you later. Hopefully we'll see you in the field.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and never stop chasing. Boomer Sooner.
Let's go, Blue.
Big game against Illinois State tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.